Jesus prayed the Psalms from the cross. In Luke's version of the Passion, Jesus died praying Psalm 31, verse 5. Father, into your hand I commit my spirit. Jesus never stopped trusting God, even when he was dying on the cross. Psalm 31 opens with a plea to God for mercy in the time of distress, a cry for God's favor and protection. On the cross, Jesus' body was broken, and he was surrounded by his enemies. They laughed at him. They heaped their scorn on him. Jesus is condemned to death, his disciples scattered and afraid. His enemies think they have won. But Jesus calls out to God, and God answers his cry. Psalm 31 speaks to us this Easter season. Here, Jesus is at his most human, beaten, condemned to death, crucified alongside two thieves. This psalm shows what it means to be a human being before God. It gives us an honest look at the human experience, and nothing more strongly declares God's faithfulness, even when he seems most absent. This psalm shows human suffering in the most graphic terms. There is no shrinking away from the cross, no sugarcoating for this pain. Jesus may ride into Jerusalem in triumph like a conquering king, but he knows how this will end. He knows, but still, he completes his mission. He trusts in God, his Father. Jesus rode into Jerusalem towards his death, yet the people treated him like a conquering hero. They threw down their garments for him to ride over. They waved palm branches and roared their approval. But as Jesus moved through the crowd, he was not moved by their expectations of him. His one desire was to remain faithful to God's will. As Jesus suffered on the cross unjustly, a victim of religious and imperial expediency, so did the one who wrote this psalm, this prayer to God. It is the prayer of a human being, of one surrounded by enemies who plot and whisper in the corners against them. It's the prayer of one who is at the end of their rope at rock bottom. They are overtaken by the forces of death that torture the body and the spirit and allow enemies to have their way. They see no way out of their despair, no light at the end of the tunnel. They feel broken and abandoned by their fellows. They cannot even love themselves. How very sad this person caught in despair and deep depression, alone in their pain. But there is hope, and even this poor soul can see that there is hope. But as for me, I have trusted in you, O Lord. Let your face shine upon your servant. Save me in your steadfast love. This is the prayer of the human Jesus dying on the cross. We have walked with Jesus through the 40 days of Lent. Today, we celebrate Jesus' triumphant entry into Jerusalem. We carry palm fronds and we sing Hosanna. This is the start of our holiest week, and we will go from triumph to despair, and finally back to the glory of Christ arisen on Easter. We will walk the last few miles with Jesus this week. In the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus prayed that God might remove this cup of suffering from him. But then he committed himself to accept God's will. Psalm 31 offers us all a prayer to remember when times are bad. But as for me, I have trusted in you, O Lord. Thanks be